So here's what went down in that octagon, and trust me, when I say this wasn't just another scrap, this was a seismic event that's left the entire lightweight scene shattered and reeling. Picture this one fighter standing there with ice in his veins, looking completely untouchable, and on the flip side, a whole division that's now got some serious wounds to heal. But here's the thing that's got everyone whispering behind closed doors. This outcome, this one single moment of truth, isn't just about who won or lost. It's a spark that's going to ignite something massive in the lightweight world for years and years to come. Let me walk you through this whole mess from the very start, because every single piece of this puzzle matters if you want to understand how a war this savage, this chaotic, and honestly, this questionable ended up creating a result that still stinks of drama and hidden agendas, even today. Strap in, because what really happened is going to blow your mind.
Obviously delivered in the main event, capped off with a war. Just give us your thoughts on Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett delivering a 5-round battle.
Yeah, I mean, what a couple. So Paddy Pimblett at the weigh-in yesterday says, I'm going to knock this motherfucker out tomorrow. And I was like, that's interesting. And he never abandoned that game plan. Even when, he got dropped a couple times, I kept waiting for him. I'm like, he's eventually going to have to shoot and try to submit him. Now, I didn't know Paddy Pimblett had a chin like that till tonight. And, yeah, absolute dogfight in a war, and much respect to both guys.
The only choice. And I knew he wasn't going to quit. He's not a quitter. I've never seen him quit, never seen him give up. And luckily I found some success early. Like I said, I was going to have to steal some momentum, and half of wrestling is stopping people from taking you down. And that's what I was best at. And so luckily I was successful tonight from keeping him there. I thought I grappled well. I was in his guard, in his guard a little bit. If I took my foot off the pedal for a second, he was on my ass. And he did a good job up to the last second. I really wanted to finish him. But I loved teaching him a lot. He said my face was not going to look the same after the fight, and his would look the exact same. So as soon as it was over, I was like, well, look at your face, motherfucker. It does not look the same. You cannot have that mentality when you come in there. He needs to accept the worst possible outcome, and that's how you perform the best, when the pressure's the
I know what I'm talking about. I knew Justin was going to win, but I will tell you guys, he won it in kind of a fluky way. There were multiple eye pokes, and he kind of did get him in the balls. But, chat, can I ask you guys a genuine question? And I'm not shitting on anybody. Do you guys really think either of them are going to beat Topuria? Come on. And I like both fighters, but, dude, I'm not going to lie, bro. Topuria is going to kill whoever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It really does not matter. That's the problem. Dude, Topuria is it's going to be crazy.
Hold up, though. Before we jump into all the carnage, let me set the scene properly. What I'm about to break down for you isn't your typical fight recap with simple punch counts and basic analysis. This is something way deeper a tale packed with heart-stopping moments, controversy that'll make your head spin and twist so wild they'll completely flip your understanding of what combat sports can really be. So yeah, we're diving deep, but I'm warning you, right now, nothing can prepare you for the absolute insanity that's coming your way.
The emotions after the victory were obviously very clear in the cage, but I just wonder if you can kind of put it into words now, just how much that result meant to you in getting the win tonight.
Yeah, I felt like I took winning for granted for a while. I feel like I just never lost. Now coming off 2 losses, I was like, man, it really feels good to win. So I just, yeah, I don't usually get like that too. I usually after a win, I just kind of, like I said, I just feel like I'm always going to win. So after coming off those losses, I was definitely felt good.
Yeah. Not an easy fight, obviously, and you dominated the third round. First 2 rounds were a little tougher. What do you think was the key to having such success in that third round versus what played out in the opening 2 rounds?
Yeah, I feel like the first 2 rounds, like he took me down at the end of both of them, but he didn't really do anything. I don't know. I feel like I didn't even know I got hit. Tim said there was a video he hit me with like a left hook, but I just feel like I didn't even take any damage other than inflicting damage on myself from kicking him and stuff. But yeah, I feel like I won every round as far as damage goes, but I'd have to go back and watch it.
Yeah. The way the judges had it, they had you winning round 1 and round 3 obviously was clear. I know after the fight was over, I saw you're walking around, you're like, hey, that's my fight. I won that. That's my fight. Was that you kind of like hoping and thinking, or did you know for sure? You felt confident?
Again, I didn't feel like I got hit. So in my head at the time, I must have got hit once or twice, but I really didn't feel like I got hit.
G versus Topuria, it's probably going to be a crazy fight also, most likely.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. I think that Ilya hits like a truck, and so does Gaethje, and I think if Gaethje prepares properly and gets ready for this fight, it should be a fun one.
Then boom, the opening bell sounded, and they did the traditional glove touch. But man, something in my stomach just twisted up. The way this guy, let's just call him Justin, to keep things simple. The way Justin bulldozed forward wasn't just showing confidence. This was raw, unfiltered violence, personified pure destructive energy radiating from every single step he took. And there was Paddy throwing those low kicks, but these weren't calculated strikes. These were panic moves trying to hold back a hurricane. Here's what's been eating at everyone. Though all these rumors swirling around about Justin's condition, whether he was dealing with some serious damage, whether this whole fight might knock him out of title contention completely. Look, nobody knows the real story about what he was battling physically, but the sheer destruction he was dishing out was enough to make anyone think twice. And brother, let me paint you a picture. The entire atmosphere in that building shifted completely. It was like someone sucked every bit of air out of the place as Justin started unleashing these bone-crushing body shots, and his right hand turned into this unstoppable weapon of mass destruction. You could literally feel everything change the second Justin started bombing away with those massive overhead shots. Right then and there, the whole fight transformed from tactical chess match to absolute bedlam. This wasn't skill meeting skill anymore. This was pure animalistic fury crashing headfirst into desperate survival instincts. And I'm telling you straight up, in that opening round, somebody in that cage realized way too late that they'd walked straight into a tornado. They couldn't control, and then bam, the knee connected, followed by a devastating uppercut, and down he went, for the first time. But here's what really got to me: the way Justin hunted Paddy down wasn't some calculated game plan. This was straight-up predator mode, driven by nothing but the killer instinct to finish. And when Paddy somehow managed to roll away and bounce back up only to get immediately kicked down again, that's when this cold realization hit me. And probably everyone watching. Oh man, this isn't just competition anymore. This is heading towards something really dark. Something that could end careers permanently. If you think this was just brutal combat inside the cage, hold on tight, because what almost completely destroyed everything behind the scenes is coming up, in its essential context. You need to understand, Justin's transformation into this relentless destroyer had him swinging like defense was a foreign concept. He was literally walking into uppercuts, eating shots like they were supposed to prove some kind of point, almost welcoming the punishment. And then it happened, the eye poke clear as day, ugly as sin, absolutely impossible to miss. But get this, the crowd in their misguided frenzy booed the wrong fighter. And I swear in that exact instant something fundamental shattered in the DNA of this fight, because controversial decisions don't just appear out of nowhere. They develop razor-sharp edges exactly when somebody somewhere has something major to gain from all the chaos that follows. Remember that detail. Round 2 detonated like a bomb of pure brutality. Justin was throwing leather so violently he was literally tripping over himself, a lethal combination of fury and fatigue. Meanwhile, Paddy's uppercut became this relentless mechanical destruction, landing over and over and over with sickening precision. And somehow, incredibly, Justin just kept charging forward, absorbing the punishment, like it was a personal challenge. But listen very carefully here, because this is where the rumors started spreading. People sitting ringside, those with the perfect angle, they caught something subtle, something potentially fight-changing. And I'm telling you right now, if what they witnessed ever gets revealed, it's gonna completely rewrite this entire round, and maybe the whole contest. Justin kept landing those devastating body kicks, his right hand snapping skulls back with terrifying power. But what really sent chills down my spine, that expression on Justin's face when one of Paddy's shots finally connected clean. It wasn't terror, not even close. It was ice-cold strategy. And that scares me way more than any fear, because fighters only get that look when they're deliberately trading their safety for something else, pushing beyond boundaries no rational person would cross. And when he forced Paddy to the ground and started diving through a storm of upkicks, I distinctly remember thinking, we're seconds away from catastrophe. This is the point where nobody walks away the same. Somehow Paddy made it through. He was demolished, barely hanging on his face, looking like a war zone of cuts and blood, but he survived the round. Then round 3 kicked off, and like it was written in stone, he got dropped again. It seemed like the fight gods themselves wanted him finished. But in this almost mystical show of heart, he popped right back up, like nothing happened, completely defying reality. And this is critical right here. Justin's attack rate dropped just a tiny bit, but enough to shift everything. And I'm stating this with complete certainty, that small dip, that microscopic change in pressure, that's the hairline fracture where all the controversy and questions are gonna pour through later. Paddy's constant leg kicks began breaking Justin down piece by piece, his jabs landing with better and better timing. And then another flash of pure controversy. The knee crashes into the groin. Was it intentional or just bad luck? Nobody can say for certain, but it absolutely stopped time in that building. And when action resumed, Paddy looked completely renewed, fresher and more dangerous, while Justin was clearly frustrated in a way that usually leads to terrible choice. Now, if you believe this timing, this dramatic energy shift, is just random chance, then honestly, you're not studying this sport or this battle closely enough. The championship rounds felt almost criminal to watch. Justin was throwing absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink. But Paddy's responses were surgical enough to answer every single assault. The pure toughness both men displayed was ridiculous, almost superhuman. But remember, this heart, while amazing, can also mask reality. And there's something deeply troubling about how this fight's rhythm changed so dramatically. It seemed forced, almost created by exhaustion rather than true dominance. By the 5th and final round, the audience was completely unhinged, a tornado of raw emotion. It was explosive power versus unbreakable will. And neither fighter, absolutely neither one, was going to crack first. And then boom, it happened again. Another knee, another direct shot to the groin, and Justin crumpled, grabbing himself in pain as time seemed frozen. And I'm watching this whole thing develop, thinking, man, this finish is going to look really strange once people start demanding answers about who knew what and when. Then the judges spoke, 48-47, 49-46, and another 49-46, unanimous decision for Justin, and immediately my mind shouted, whoa, pump the brakes, because those scores don't just crown a champion, they tell a narrative, and narratives like this, the really complicated ones, they always have fine print, the type nobody reads until everything falls apart. Everyone's calling it Fight of the Year, an instant masterpiece. And sure, it was absolutely incredible. But genuine classics, true legends of combat sports, they don't usually carry this many question marks, this much bubbling controversy, this much raw tension, simmering just below the surface, and it keeps eating at me. Somebody somewhere is staying very, very quiet right now. Somebody who definitely shouldn't be, and trust me, that silence is deafening. Now you're probably assuming this saga ends here with hardware around someone's waist, and official paperwork closing the chapter, but I absolutely refuse to believe that. Because divisions, these whole universes of fighters and ambitions, they have long memories about nights like this. Competitors remember slights, officials remember documentation, and the massive paper trail that comes after. And if even a fraction of what I'm picking up, half of what's been floating around the gym gossip, is accurate, then believe me, this outcome isn't resolving anything whatsoever. This isn't an ending. It's just postponing an inevitable eruption. I can't escape this nagging sensation that somebody somehow slipped something past everyone, that something vital, something truly explosive, was purposely buried in all the blood, all the mayhem, all the incredible action, and every time I run through this fight again, my instincts are screaming, no, this isn't finished, not by a long shot, because the very next revelation, the next bit of intel that surfaces, could completely flip everything you think you witnessed tonight. So I'm telling you, embrace that uncomfortable feeling, because while everyone else is busy celebrating what they think they saw, the questions keep piling up higher and higher. Anger is slowly building under the radar. And the lightweight division right now feels like a bomb with a timer that's barely holding, and when it finally explodes, and it absolutely will, don't you dare act shocked, because this fight didn't really conclude. It just stopped being recorded.